just don't know when to quit.
Yeah, I've been told that before.
Wow. I need a weapon.
Hello there.
You with you?
I thought yours was good.
Well, hello. Welcome, everybody, to Slav's Free Talk Podcast. How's it going on this beautiful fallish Monday night? Well, at least it's fallish where I'm at. I don't know how it is where you're at, but here it's a nice little chilly 60 degrees and clear. It's like perfect fall weather. I love the fall. So, well, how's it all going? It's been a interesting weekend, to say the least, especially last night, where a bomb dropped in the pop culture realm, especially if you're a DC fan and have been following along with what's been going on with Superman. So that's been interesting. But I'm hoping you're all doing well. I don't have a lot of stories to talk about today, so we'll touch on, I guess, Tomb Raider, what they're doing there. We will talk about the Superman news that dropped. And then I want to talk about, specifically for the main topic, I want to discuss the future. The future in the year 2027. Old Conan O'Brien reference, if you guys even understood that. But in 2027, there's been a lot of discussion with Man of Tomorrow. I almost said Man of Steel. With Man of Tomorrow being announced, and we know that the Batman's coming out, and a slew of other films. Everybody's been sitting back saying, what does 2027 look like? And well, it looks insane. So we're going to sit back and see why 2027 may be the biggest year for nerd movies. So we'll take a look at that. But before we get into all this, let's see who is all here. Let's see. We got Donovan. We got Jalen in here. Hello. We got Donovan. He says, the Beast Boy situation is very interesting and complicated. That's one reason why I didn't want to bring it up, because there is a lot of moving parts and it's very complicated to it. I was thinking about discussing it. I really was. But it seems like he's not being completely truthful with his accusations and how things went down. And I don't want to misinform from that perspective. So that's why I didn't want to talk about that at all. We got The Watcher in here, says, what up? What's going on? We got Trayvon in here saying hey to Jalen. What's going on? No, Donovan, I mean 2027, Donovan. I am talking about 2027. I know it's a couple years away still. 2026 isn't as big of a year as what 2027 is going to be. I know it's a couple years away. I know. But it is a huge, huge year that will be 2027. And I want to talk about it because of how big of a year it is. We got to get through the rest of 2025. We got a few more months here. And then a whole nother year, 2026, to get there. I get that. But 2027 is going to be ginormous when it comes to nerd films. Let's see. Jalen says, hey, Slav, what's going on? And my dog and cat are fighting right now, so that's always a fun thing to do. So, yeah, let's get into it. The first thing I want to bring up is, let's bring up this. I don't know if you guys saw. Me, Movie Talk Now, Comics Cuts, and what are they called? Cinema Hooks, Chris. We all did videos on, what was it? On comic costumes. And we each did our own take. The coolest thing about this was we basically, and this was all set up by Movie Talk Now, David over at Movie Talk Now. He's such a great guy. But he had this idea of all of us just not rating, but like saying which suits were better, either the comics or the movies. He was like, here's a list of characters we should do. Let's all make videos on this, but let's not see each other's video until they're posted. So we won't discuss it. We won't talk about it. Let's just make the videos and post them same day, same time, that kind of thing. So we did. And it's really cool because we all talk about essentially the same characters, and some of them, it's funny because we use some of the same images, some of them are not the same images, but some of us are just radically different in our way of thinking and discussing the costumes, whether it's live action or comics, and what our end thought is on each one. So it's absolutely cool. I encourage you all to go watch each video. Each single one of these channels are great, so go check them out. If you haven't yet subscribed to them, start following them. They each do really cool videos, and obviously check mine out if you haven't. It's awesome. It's a great video, but go check theirs out as well. I really enjoy what they're doing over at each one of those channels and want to support them, and I hope you do also. So go check them out. One other thing, if you haven't heard, so for the Watchtower this week, what I want to do, last week we did this really cool thing where we did voicemails. And I said, hey, leave a voicemail for a crazy theory for the DCU. I want to do another voicemail thing. That was a lot of fun. I only got 3, but each week I want to hopefully have that build. So this week I want to do the same thing, voicemails again. Leave a voicemail. The link for the voicemail thing is in my community tab with posts on YouTube. It's the latest post over there. You can leave a voicemail through the link, 30 to 60 seconds long. But this week, it's going to be specifically who you think the villain of Man of Tomorrow will be and why. Again, 30 to 60 seconds long. It doesn't need to be anything too long. You can leave your name. You can be anonymous, whatever you want it to be. But that'll be that's going to be the topic for the Watchtower at the end of the week. So go ahead, do that. It'll be awesome. Again, I like including you, the audience, into things, especially for the Watchtower. All right. Donovan says, Movie Talk Now always felt like he does have a bias kind of against Gunn. I don't really get that. The one thing I like about Movie Talk Now is he's just one of those guys who loves to help push and boost other people, other content creators up, as well as just, he makes content. He just loves making content. And hey, I'm here to support that. And I'm also one of those people that love to boost other content creators up. I'm working on an idea that I'm going to start hopefully in the very near future on helping boost other content creators up myself. But that's something that he loves to do. I love seeing that, just, giving everybody a helping hand up the ladder of this crazy world of YouTube or content creation, whatever you want to call it. It's tough out there. And look, I'm not going to sit there and say that I'm ever going to be anything crazy big or anything like that, but even just giving a helping hand to those who could eventually get big, why not? And Movie Talk Now does that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that. I like the videos he makes, and he's a cool guy to talk with. So look, you don't always have to agree on everything. If I've never seen his bias against Gunn, but if he doesn't like Gunn, it's no big deal. Like, he's not out there like the Snyder Bros are, so I'm not going to sit there and say anything like that. Yeah, there he goes. He's here now. He says, I love Gunn. See? Yeah, like I said, I've never heard him say anything bad about Gunn, but there you have it. Kevin Davis says, DC Studios focus too much on Superman and Batman, create new stories to be part of their universe. They're not focusing. I mean, they're not focusing too much on Batman right now, and they're making a Clayface movie, and they're making lanterns. So I don't know. Okay, first story. Come on, there we go. Sophia Turner set to star as Lara Croft in upcoming Tomb Raider series from Amazon MGM Studios. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is serving as creator, writer, executive producer, and co-showrunner. Jonathan Van Tuliken set as director and executive producer, and Chad Hodge joins as co-showrunner and executive producer. I am a little concerned about this. For me, I really liked, I won't say really liked, but I enjoyed that Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider movie we got a few years back, probably almost 10 years ago at this point. I really did enjoy that movie. Yeah, I thought it was fun, and I always thought that they should have continued it. I mean, they probably could have lowered the budget a little bit and had something that was more fun, or not more fun, but more personal, not as adventurous. But I thought it was a fun film. I guess I understand, they're doing a series here, which kind of makes sense. I get the idea of doing a series, kind of pushing forward with this idea of making almost like because with Amazon, they have the Reacher series, they did the Jack Ryan series. It kind of seems to me that they're hoping or looking at this as another type of series like that, but woman power type of thing. And that's not me trying to rag on the idea, because Tomb Raider has been around since the 90s, and I'm not trying to rag on it. And I've been a fan of the Tomb Raider series since then. I mean, the game's hit or miss here and there, but I get it. My issue, though, really comes down to the casting choice. Sophie Turner, she is an okay actress. I'm not going to sit there and say she's phenomenal. I'm not saying that she can't be phenomenal. I've seen her essentially in two things: Game of Thrones and the short little stint she had in X-Men. For me, I just never looked at her and thought, she's Lara Croft. Can she pull that off? Maybe. Maybe she can, maybe she can't. Again, Lara Croft's not exactly like, a very drama-filled role, more action, and doesn't need a lot of skill, I guess, in the drama department. But I don't know. You look at her and you just don't see Lara Croft. I don't. I'm also concerned with Phoebe Waller-Bridge serving as creator, writer, executive producer, co-showrunner, mainly because of her lack of experience in doing all of this. And she's jumping in and doing this show for Amazon and MGM Studios, which means she's going to have to hit a home run right off the bat, or it's not going to happen. So for me, I'm curious, because I mean, Tomb Raider, I'm not sitting here begging for a Tomb Raider series, begging for a Tomb Raider movie. Like I said, I enjoyed the last movie that came out. Would I have liked to have seen another one? Sure. But I wasn't begging for another one. I can go all the way back to the Angelina Jolie films. Sure. They were decent. They were fine. Never begging for more. So for this, it's kind of like one of those things. Is this needed? And because it's not really needed, are these the right people to be running this thing? So that's kind of the question I have and concerns that I have with it. Again, it could be a home run. We could be sitting here saying this all for naught, and it could be a huge hit, massive success, be the next Jack Ryan and Reacher, and be phenomenal. And I'm hoping so. But I have some concerns with who's running it, who they cast. Who knows? The supporting cast may even be better. The supporting cast may be phenomenal. So we'll see. We definitely will see. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are you guys saying over here? Kevin Davis says Angelina Jolie is Tomb Raider. Yeah, I mean she was a Tomb Raider for sure. At one time. Donovan says I really don't have much faith in this show lasting long. Look, again, we could all be surprised. Like I said, it could be the next Reacher or Jack Ryan. Amazon's hit it out of the park with those kind of series, so you never know. What else do we got? Donovan says, by the way, they had an animated Tomb Raider show on Netflix that they cut short, with the second season being its last. Probably because nobody really cares. Honestly, I mean, is anybody begging for Tomb Raider stuff? That's the thing. Donovan also says, and it was Haley Atwell as Lara, doing the voice of Lara. Well, I mean, there you have it. I mean, huh. And look, I'm not the only one that doesn't think Sophie Turner's the wrong choice. Trayvon says, if only Amazon MGM bought out Turner Entertainment from Warner Brothers. Maybe. All right. Let's get on to the fun stuff, though. So I wanted to bring that up, but I know, you guys all want to talk about, come on, this here. This popped up last night. Now, last night what was I doing last night? I was busy last night. What was I doing? I can't remember. But I didn't have access or wasn't able to get on a computer or go on internet or anything like that. So I didn't see this pop up when it popped up originally. I didn't see it. And it was a few hours after it posted. I go on and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a thing. So I didn't have time to immediately sit down and read the article. So you'll notice, like last night, I didn't post anything about it. I didn't because, look, I do the right thing. Like, I won't just post something about things. I won't talk about it unless I do my due diligence and read about it. So I shared the article and I just said fantastic. I said fantastic and shared the article. That's all I did. It was this one right here, actually, because I saw this. I saw that it was Variety. I clicked on the link to verify that it was a real article, and then I just shared it and said, fantastic. This morning, I woke up, I read the article, and at first I was reading it, and I was like, and this is like a really long-winded article to get to this whole idea of Superman making money. Like, this article didn't seem like it was about Superman at all. But then I see, okay, it's talking more about the overall Warner Brothers and what they've been doing and being successful with things over the last year, essentially, because they've had a hell of a year. It started off a little rough, but since really Minecraft came out, they've had a hell of a year. So I continue reading on, and then towards the end, we see the little bit here. Where'd it go? There we go. Towards the end, it says, back in the spring, Bong Joon-ho's sci-fi epic Mickey 17 with Pattinson, as well as the De Niro-led crime drama The Alto Knights, had set the studio back at least $110 million in losses. But the remaining lineup has delivered some inviolable profit margins. Case in point, Sinners is expected to generate around $60 million in theatrical profits. Superman, around $125 million. Final Destination Bloodlines, approximately $75 million. Weapons, which I still did not think was a good movie, around $65 million, and counting. According to knowledgeable individuals, for F1, Warner Brothers was paid a flat distribution fee as well as a percentage of revenues in line with certain box office benchmarks, resulting in theatrical profits of roughly $34 million. Warner Brothers declined to comment. A studio insider disputed these figures without providing specific numbers. The source added that Warner Brothers had made roughly $600 million in combined year-to-date theatrical profits before counting the latest Conjuring. So this was kind of the bulk of the article where you get this information about Superman. Now, I read this, and I reread it, and I reread it, because I didn't want to misunderstand anything. I didn't want to sit here and start freaking out and say, oh, look at this. Superman is making $125 million in profit. victory, 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 and then come to find out that they're talking about something else, or something else is wrong, or they don't have all their information. And you can tell where people like myself and some others, we did that. We sat down, we read this properly. We sat down and we looked at this thing and we said, okay, what is Variety, which is a very, very reputable, one of the most reputable, if not the most reputable outlet from, Hollywood side of things. What are they trying to say? Well, they're just talking about the profits in which Warner Brothers Discovery has made this year, and that they are on an epic run that we have not seen in maybe ever for a studio, because they have been having a fantastic run since the beginning of May. And it's true. That's what this whole article is about. But when we want to sit there and talk about Superman, because let's face it, us fans of DC, us fans of what James Gunn is creating and Peter Safran is creating, we get hammered down constantly. Oh, Man of Steel made $670 million in a cave with a box of scraps, and Superman can't make that one in 2025. It's like, guys, who the hell cares? Superman is still success. No, it's not. It's not. It's a flop. Okay. First off, the idea that Superman is a flop is just asinine. Like, you can throw that out the window now. Like, you cannot, none of them can say, none of those people can say that Superman is a flop. All right? Now they'll sit there and they try to say Variety is lying. Variety is lying. Because they can't say, the thing that I think is great about this is they can't say Warner Brothers is lying with this. Because Warner Brothers specifically says a studio insider disputed these figures without providing specific numbers. So Warner Brothers declined to comment. I'm sorry, that's the one I wanted to point out. Warner Brothers declined to comment. So these numbers aren't coming from Warner Brothers, no. But Warner Brothers studios don't typically talk about their profits. So there's that. All right, there's that. These are probably, the professionals. These are the people who truly look at this stuff on a daily basis, who understand the business better than you, better than I, better than anybody else on Twitter, on Threads, on YouTube actually does. Let's face it, okay? Like, they understand the business better than we do. So, what does this truly mean? Because that's the important thing. Like, what does this mean? Well, Superman's a success. Superman has made DC Studios and Warner Brothers Discovery around $125 million, and probably going to make it a little bit more than that, give or take. We'll say, give or take it, we'll say, because it's got probably another week, 2 weeks left in theaters before they finally pull it out of the main theaters. You see it's dwindling. Like, I looked this weekend, we went to go see Freakier Friday with my kids this weekend, and I think it was playing like 2 showings in my theater on a Saturday. So it's really coming down. It's not really playing much anymore. So, where else can people try and say, hey, this is wrong? Well, then people try to sit here and say, so as you read, Final Destination, approximately 75, weapons around 65, and counting. And then there's a comma. It says, according to knowledgeable individuals. Okay? So that is where people start to say, who are these knowledgeable individuals? Because how can you say knowledgeable individuals? We don't know who they are. Again, these are people who know this industry way better than we do. It's that simple. That's all it is. So there's that. All right. So we move on from there. But you can head over to my website, slavsfreetalk.com. I encourage you guys to head over there. I got so many cool things on a weekly basis, sometimes 2-3 articles a week. I'm doing it all myself. I'm getting tired. I do need some writers over there. Come on, guys. Anyways, but if you want some ammunition against some of these people who want to sit there and still try and say, oh, Superman's a failure, Man of Steel still did this, Batman v Superman did this, blah, 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 blah. you can head over here because I broke down the numbers. You know, Superman made $125 million in profit. Man of Steel, $43 million in profit. Batman v Superman made $106 million in profit. So when you take a look at those two big theatrical films from the Zack Snyder verse, Superman has defeated both of them. Now, what about inflation, you say? Well, yes, you can look at inflation. So inflation smishflation is what I say, because Man of Steel, even with inflation, would be $58 million today. Still very, very, very well shy of what Superman did. Batman vs. Superman, however, does jump up a little more, a little higher than Superman at $137 million. However, they needed Batman and Wonder Woman and Lex Luthor and Doomsday and Flash and Aquaman and a brief glimpse at Cyborg in that movie to make it happen. So, in the grand scheme of things, did it really do that? Did it? No, I know. I'm just saying that. But it did. Batman vs. Superman, as it should have. As it should have. When you first have the actual Trinity on screen, it absolutely should make that kind of money, if really more. So, there's that you can go with. Okay? Absolutely, you can go with that. The fact of the matter is, and I've been saying this for how long? Superman was going to be a success because, one, it had to draw people back into DC. It did that. It was a victory in that regard. They wanted it to make a little bit of money for the studio. It did that. Awesome. It made some money for the studio. Let's just say that these people knowledgeable, what do they call them again? What did they call them? What did they say? Knowledgeable individuals. Let's just say these knowledgeable individuals are a little off on their estimation. Let's say Superman only made $100 million in profits. That's still damn good. Okay? Let's just say maybe it was $75 million in profits. That's still good. It's still profits. It's still not a flop. Do you see what I'm getting at here? Do you see where I'm going with this? Because no matter how they try to spin it, Superman wins. It wins. It wins the day. It beats the Snyder cult, the Snyder Bros, all of the things, anything that they wanted to spout and say and try and degrade this film, to beat it down, to say this movie was going to be a flop, it was going to be a failure. It's over. They lost. The movie has been victorious. It's brought the fans back. It's been profitable for James Gunn, Peter Safran, DC Studios, Warner Brothers Discovery. Full stop. That's what matters. And this goes all the way back to what the Snyder Bros, were saying months and months and months ago. That if this movie is going to be a success, it needs to be profitable and it needs to get the fans back. And it's done both of those things. Look, a studio isn't going to sit there and lie about a movie making money. They're not going to sit there and say, if a studio and company is losing millions and millions and millions of dollars, they're not going to sit there and say, oh, we're making millions and millions and millions of dollars. We're making it. We're making millions of dollars despite losing millions of dollars, and then continue making a crap ton of movies. You know why? Because no bank's going to give them money to make the movies. No other studio is going to want to partner with them to make movies. First off, banks are going to want to see their books to know if they can lend them money. And they're going to see, you're losing millions? Yeah, no thanks. So there is this whole thing like, no, they're not lying. Now, again, I know this article from Variety, this information is not coming from Warner Brothers. I get that, okay? But don't you think that if they were losing crap tons of money, they would not be pushing forward with Man of Tomorrow, Clayface, the Batman Part 2, and all the other movies that they're lining up and projects that they're lining up? I mean, it just the ridiculousness that these people go to try and make it make sense in their head that things are a failure. And every time people start to bitch and complain at me, I ask them one simple question. Why do you want it to fail? And nobody ever answers. Nobody ever answers. Because the answer that they'll probably give is, I don't like James Gunn. Or, I didn't like Superman. Or, I don't like jokes in my comic book movies. Something stupid like that. Because those are all stupid answers. None of those are acceptable answers for why you want a franchise to die. Because, first off, that's not all the franchise is going to be. Not every movie is going to be a James Gunn movie. Not every movie is going to have jokes in it. Not every movie is going to be like Superman. But they don't understand that because they just have this blood in their eyes, this red in their eyes that it's not Snyder, it's bad. And I say this all the time. It doesn't matter who would have taken over DC. They would have done the same thing that they're doing right now. Same thing. They say it's because of James Gunn, but it's not. It wouldn't have mattered who was in this place. So the winner is clear right now. The winner is clear. Superman, James Gunn, DC Studios. They have done something that hasn't been seen for years with DC. Specifically DC Films. And the crazy thing is, DC is on like an incredible run right now with movies and with comics. If you're not reading DC Comics right now, there's some pretty crazy stuff going on, especially with Superman comics. Like, guys, you need to be reading these Superman comics right now. I wasn't even aware of it until recently. Holy crap, these Superman comics are nuts. Then you got the Absolute series. The new Batman comics are coming out. Like, comics, DC is leagues above everything else right now when it comes to mainstream comics. And DC is now blowing up the TV screens with Peacemaker and Penguin not too long ago. And now the big screen with Superman. Like, guys, like, you don't understand. DC is on an incredible run. And they're just winning nonstop. You can't stop them right now. It's amazing. It's great to see. But I want to know what you guys have to say about all this in the comments below. Love to hear what you have to say. It's exciting, and it's a great time to be a DC fan. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right. What are you guys saying over here? Rio Anarchy says, they fail to do basic math. What's going on, Ben? Yes, they do. Dave Menchaca. Love your channel, dude. Keep up the good work. Thank you, David. Let's see. Geez, you guys talking a lot here. Reading some of these comments just while I'm scrolling up to where it started. It's funny. Let's see. So it starts off, Donovan says, I'm a punk rocker. Yes, I am. Indeed. Donovan also says, so much cope from the Snyder Bros. Donovan also says, this is 2 times more than Man of Steel. That should tell you something. Now, remember, this is just the theatrical take. So we're not talking about the product placements and things like that. So Man of Steel in the end could be more profitable because of that. Absolutely. Or it could not. Like, I haven't dived into all of that because I don't know what Superman has made with product placements and such, if any, because there wasn't much product placement in that movie, I could tell. I think they were using iPhones. I think that's about it. So there's that. We also have to take a look at the marketing. I think the marketing that was done for Superman was done in a very sly way, utilizing their outlets much more because then they weren't paying nearly as much as people were thinking thus saving them a crap ton of money. So there's also that. Trayvon says, Warner Brothers has been in an unprecedented renaissance ever since Minecraft came out. Indeed, they have. Critic Chris says, they know it's dead. Few of them are simply out to ruin Gunn and his career. It's their personal mission in life, which is sickening. Movie Talk Now says, I wanted to thank Slav for participating in the collaboration. His video was so well done and thoughtful. Well, thank you. I didn't think my video was all that well done. I still don't like my editing skills. Yeah, I need to get better with my editing skills with videos. But thank you with that. And I had a lot of fun doing the videos for sure. Or the video, I should say, for sure. And I loved everybody else's video as well. Donovan says, Sean thinks that Zaslav is running the studio into the ground. Yeah, right. Yeah, I've seen some people still saying that Zaslav is terrible for the studio, that everything that's happened this year is thanks to Abdi and DeLuca. So yeah, I mean, but if you're going to give the credit to Abdi and DeLuca, you got to give the credit to James Gunn as well, right? I mean, like you have to. Abdi, DeLuca, Gunn, Safran, like you can't give credit to those two and then not to Gunn and Safran. It's just wild to me how people's minds work. Boy. Donovan says, Superflop is a bust. Yes, while it's closed is also a huge, massive failure. Let's see. What else do we got? Movie Talk Now says, have you guys noticed how quick Grace Randolph is to say Gunn is a failure? I did not see that. When did she say that? Was that recently? Like, that's wild if she did. She said there was no buzz around Man of Tomorrow announcement. Really? She said that? I've seen a lot of buzz. It was trending on X the day it was announced. Like, it was an announcement. Like, it's not going to trend for days and days. It was an announcement for a movie coming out 2 years later. Like, what do you expect? Whatever. Okay, whatever. Let's see. What do we got here? The Watcher says, anyone saying Gunn is failure needs to be there, needs to get their head examined for ignorant it is. Or gun derangement syndrome. Yes, gun derangement syndrome. Nice callback there. Anything else? What else do we got? Donovan says, they aren't fans. Indeed, they are not. The Watcher says, I read Batman #1 was amazing. See, I didn't think it was amazing. It was all right. I didn't think it was great. It left me interested enough to read issue #2, but I didn't think it was great. Donovan says, I'm reading so many comics right now. What are the names of the Superman comics? I don't know. I have to look more into it right now. Like I said, I just found out about what's going on with it. So essentially the gist of it, it popped up on my, there's a guy who was recapping it on TikTok I saw. And that's what got me interested into it. Essentially, Doomsday, like there's a new Doomsday who has like died a whole bunch of times and come back to life, die, come back to life, die, come back to life. And he's like this god Doomsday now in the future. And he actually comes back from the future and is telling Superman about like some crazy threat that's coming. And it's Darkseid. Now, do you remember the All In event that took place? Like, when did that take place? Was that earlier this year? Like, I can't even remember. It feels like it was forever ago. The All In event. Well, Darkseid's supposedly going to be coming and create this catastrophic event that's just going to destroy everything. So this like God Doomsday is like coming to like warn him about it and say, look, I need your help in stopping this. But Superman's like, what can I do? So it's like this story about what he's doing and going to, you just got it sounds so great. And I got to pick up the comics. And I'm hoping to do that this weekend. So I got to look up and see what issues they are, where it starts. So I will let you know, Donovan. I will definitely let you know. The Watcher says Batman #1, absolute Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman comics, all great. Oh, and the other thing about it is, in that Superman run, pieces of the absolute universe are like starting to bleed in to the normal universe. So it's crazy. Like they're man, it's nuts. All right. Jalen says, DC rising, and I hope the DC fan base can weed out the old, bitter, toxic, and killjoys of the Snyder cult, not the good Snyder fans who exist. We really need it to grow and get excited. Indeed, we do, Jalen. Indeed, we do. Watcher says, I know some comic fans who like the comics only and don't care about the movies at all. That's okay. I mean, some people are like that. Cinema Hooked, what's going on? Hey, great video today, man. If you're still here watching, great video today. Loved it. He says, WB is pumping out financial quality bangers. Future is looking bright. Indeed it is. And again, it's not just the cinema that they're doing. Like Warner Brothers is, but DC Comics, they're crazy good right now. They're doing some great things there. But yeah, Warner Brothers doing some great things. And look, I know the newest Conjuring isn't like tracking well when it comes to fans and critics, but made a lot of money its opening weekend, that's for sure. Hunter Iggy's here, says, what's up? What's going on, Hunter? Captain Rose, hi, how's it going? Trayvon says, the earth revolves around the sun, mothers love their children, and Grace Randolph will spout bullshit. Always. Cinema Hooked. Man of Tomorrow has a ton of buzz. I've already done 2 videos on it. Once that teaser drops, we'll lose our collective shit. Indeed, we will. Yeah, I've done 2 videos about it already myself. Donovan says, right now I'm reading Grant Morrison's Batman run. Yeah, look, like I said the other day, I'm kind of going back and forth between old comics and new runs of comics right now, because I'm trying to like just refresh my mind from older things that I've loved in the past, and I'm reading some of the newer stuff right now as well. Speaking of older things, did you guys hear? Should have pulled it up, but they're doing a audio drama of Kingdom Come. It was just announced a few days ago. Now, I know that they did one before, but they're doing a new one again, a new audio drama of Kingdom Come with 30 voice people, like voice actors that are going to be doing that. So I think it's due to come out in October, I think I saw. So that should be cool. That should definitely be cool. What else do we got? There's a lot of comments trying to catch up here. Cinema Hook says, editing my Conjuring vid now, definitely got thoughts. I'm not a big horror movie fan, so I'm probably not going to watch it. Probably why I also did not like Weapons, but yeah, like I said, I haven't heard great things about it. Watcher says, they brought Batman's electric gloves back as well in Batman #1, one of my favorite gadgets. He's got a lot of tech in that first issue there. There was a lot of tech with that issue. I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely see how that story goes. The one thing that's really interesting to me about this new Batman run is every issue is going to be a secluded story. That's what's interesting to me. It's not going to have like this crazy, long, thought-out story run where, issue 1 to issue 15 or 12 or whatever it is going to have like this big thought out thorough story. It's just there might be some little bits and pieces of some kind of story that's small in there, but for the most part each and every issue is going to be a singular story. So that to me I think is interesting for sure. All right, let's get to the main topic. And like I said, I know it's 2 years away. I know, not even. It's a little less than 2 years away. But guys, 2027 is 100% going to be the wildest year ever for nerdy movies. It really is. Yes, we're getting a Superman movie. Yes, we're getting a Batman movie. Yes, we're getting a new Avengers movie. Yes, there's going to be another Spider-Man. What is it? Beyond the Spider-Verse or somewhere of Spider-Verse fame or something like that. But there's so much more than what you think. You think you know, but you have no idea. So I'm going to go through this list here. And what I want you guys to do in the comments is I want you to tell me, one, what is your most anticipated film for 2027? Again, this isn't 2026, not next year, the year after. But as of right now, what is your most anticipated movie for 2027? And what do you think will be the biggest movie for 2027? So let me know that in the comments. So first up, we got Godzilla x Kong Supernova. I'm sure that's Movie Talk Now's biggest, most excited movie right there. That comes out March 26th. I know he's a big Godzilla guy. So that's coming out March 26th. Then we got Sonic the Hedgehog 4 slated for March 19th. Look, I love the Sonic movies, so I'm all sold for this. Like, I'm sold for seeing Sonic. Like, come on. March, right there. Godzilla and Sonic in March. Why the heck not? I'm going to see both of them most likely. Look, I'm not a huge Godzilla fan, but I will watch it. And Sonic, absolutely. I'm all for it. Let's go. Then in May, we get the live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Legend of Zelda, live action. Finally, after 30-some years, we're finally getting a live-action Zelda movie. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So we get that. Then we get, on May 28th, a new Star Wars movie. It will be Star Wars Starfighter. Now, this isn't the first return, because in 2026 we do get Mandalorian and Grogu, but that, like I keep saying, is more of like a made-for-TV movie put in theaters. This is going to be the first real movie for Star Wars in a number of years, not to mention it is the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. I bet, I'm willing to put my money on it, that not only will we get Starfighter in theaters that year, but we will also get a re-release of A New Hope in theaters as well. So we got that. Then July 9th, Superman, Man of Tomorrow. I know it's just Man of Tomorrow, but just for people who don't know what Man of Tomorrow means, it's Superman, Man of Tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. Look, this is the not sequel to Superman, the continuation of the Superman family saga, the Superman saga, whatever you want to call it. It's a continuation of the Peacemaker Season 2. We're going to talk more about this over the next 2 years. Guys, 2 years we're going to be talking about Man of Tomorrow on this channel. It's going to be a lot of fun, theorizing, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be great. Then we have The Batman Part 2 on October 1st. Look, I know so many people want Pattinson to be the DCU Batman. I still don't think it's going to happen, and I have reasons why on SlavsFreeTalk.com. 5 reasons why it should not and cannot happen. So go check that out if you want to. But we get The Batman Part 2 in October, on October 1st, 2027. So go check it out, guys. It's going to be, another Batman movie. Then we have A Quiet Place Part 3. Is this a nerdy movie? Maybe not so much. But look, people love these movies. The first 2 were huge hits, and then they had a spin-off earlier this year, that did okay, but people love these films. They're a lot of fun. Look, John Krasinski knocked it out of the park with horror films. Horror's just on this huge uphill right now. At some point it's going to be coming back down, but right now it's going up, 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 and up, and Quiet Place is right on that hill with it. Then we get Beyond the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse one last time with Beyond the Spider-Verse on June 25th. If it comes out and doesn't get delayed again, but I don't think it will get delayed again. This movie should be a lot of fun. The first 2 Spider-Verse films were fantastic. I do think the first one was way better than the second one, but the second one was still fun. The third one, I'm hoping, just keeps it up, because look, this has the potential of being one of the best movie trilogies of all time. Definitely top 5 if the third one knocks it out of the park. Then we get the TMNT Mutant Mayhem 2, September 17th, and I screwed that up there. But September 17th, Mutant Mayhem 2. I am going to be honest, I didn't watch the first one. I had no interest watching it. Look, I'm a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan since I was wee little. And this is the only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie I have not watched. Well, at least the first one. I had no interest in watching it. It just did not look good to me. I've even watched a lot of the animated shows, like on Nickelodeon and things like that. This just didn't interest me. But I know there's going to be people that want to go see it. So I know people are going to go see it. So it should be a lot of fun for them. November 24th, Frozen 3. Can you believe it has been 8 years? By the time this movie comes out, it will have been 8 years. 8 years since the second one came out. That's nuts. Like, it feels like just yesterday the second one came out because my daughters run around here singing the songs when they're spinning in the living room, all that kind of stuff, whatever. But it will have been 8 years since the second one came out once this one comes out. And, Frozen 3, look, I can sit there and I'm manly enough to say I enjoy those movies. Maybe it's a little biased because I have daughters, but I've enjoyed the movies. They're not bad. They're enjoyable. So we got that. And then the live action How to Train Your Dragon 2 is slated for June 11th. Look, I still have yet to see the first live action How to Train Your Dragon, but from what I've been told, it's exactly like the animated one, so I'm not missing much. I am going to see the live action one, of course, but look, if it's exactly like the animated one, I'm not missing much. But I'm sure it's going to be just as fun. So, yes, this one is coming out June 11th. Then, the big finale of the multiverse for the Avengers. Avengers Secret Wars, December 17th. This is quite possibly going to be the biggest event film of the year if they can knock it out with Doomsday. I don't think people understand how important Doomsday is for this movie, Secret Wars, to be successful. If Doomsday falls flat, Secret Wars will not be as big as people think it can be. But if Doomsday knocks it out of the park and is exciting and is big and gets people on the edge of their seats and has a great cliffhanger or what have you, then Secret Wars will be just as big, if not bigger, and could be even Endgame size hype. But we'll see. Then we also go back to Middle-earth with Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. This one's interesting because, look, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings guy. Look, I'm a big fan of Fellowship of the Ring. But after that, most of them kind of fall off for me. I'm not a big fan of that series. I get it. Some people might come at me for that. But it is what it is. I've watched them. I haven't watched the Hobbit movies. No interest. But I have watched the Lord of the Rings films. The trilogy, I get it. I've watched them. They're just not for me. They're fine films. They're fine films. They're just not for me. I do, but I could put on Fellowship of the Ring and watch that whenever. Absolutely adore that film. I will say the music is phenomenal. Love the music of those movies. But I'm not a big fan of Lord of the Rings. This one, though, a bit interesting. I don't think Andy Serkis is going to do well with this because he's the one directing this film. I'm a little worried about that. I don't think he's up to the task, but we'll see, I guess, right? We will see. So there you have it. Like I said, it is a big, big year for movies. And you see the dates. Everything kind of starts in March. So when it comes to everything, like January, February, nothing. So then it's March. There's nothing in April. And then May, all the way to the end of the year is when everything else is. So then you have like a crazy 6-7 month period where it's just movie. So you better start saving your money now if you plan on going to the theaters in 2027. Look, I know 2026, it's not quite as crazy and big as 2027, but 2026 is going to have some decent films, for sure. But 2027 is going to be huge, absolutely huge. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What you think about this? What is the movie that you're looking forward to the most in 2027? And what movie do you think is going to be the biggest in 2027? All right. I see a whole bunch of comments, and I starred the comment. I was smart this time, and there it is. So, Donovan says, Man of Tomorrow. I'm guessing that's your most anticipated for 2027. Makes sense. Absolutely. Also says, I'm excited for Godzilla. And says, never cared for Sonic. Well, that's unfortunate. Those Sonic movies are a lot of fun. Great family fun. Trayvon says, Man of Tomorrow is my most anticipated movie of 2027 by far. Wouldn't be surprised if Bluey is the biggest movie of the year. See, I didn't put Bluey on there. Because, like, it's not a nerdy movie. That's like a kid's movie. Like, I know I put Frozen on there, but let's face it. Like, Frozen is a huge movie. But maybe I should have put Bluey on there. Maybe I should have. You might not be wrong. Bluey could be the biggest movie of the year. You might not be wrong there. Oh, man. The Watcher says, Man of Tomorrow, number 1. Number 2, The Batman. Number 3, Secret Wars. 4, Sonic. 5, Zelda. Interesting. Donovan says, who cares about Bluey? Their voices are annoying. Hey, my kids love Bluey, but hopefully they're grown out of it by then, honestly. Cinema Hook says, Zelda is going to bomb. I just can't imagine it being good. But hey, maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't know, man. If they can capture that like little charm that comes with Zelda, and then obviously have the right aesthetic. But if they can capture that charm and the aesthetic, I'm sold. And honestly, I think they should have done it in animation, because what I think they should have done is they should have just built a Nintendo universe through animation. So they did the Mario one. They should have done a Zelda one. They could have done, even like a Metroid one, and eventually like built all these little animated universes, and then led to like a Super Smash Brothers movie or something like that. Like, that would have been smart. But this being live action, I'm all for it. I think that this could be a lot of fun. I think that it could be good if they are able to capture that charm. I think it'll be fine. Let's see. Cinema Hooked also says, Starfighter is going to be crazy. I'm most hyped for that and Man of Tomorrow. Look, Starfighter, look, I don't know how much you know about me, Cinema Hooked. Star Wars is number 1 on my nerd list. Star Wars, DC, Marvel, like it goes in that way when you talk about the big 3. I just can't get excited about Starfighter. I honestly can't get excited about any Star Wars movie right now, just because I have to temper my expectations. I'm trying to, maybe as we get closer, I start to see footage, I start to see things, I'll start to get excited. It's probably going to happen with The Mandalorian and Grogu. I'll probably get real excited for it. I am just one of those people, like, I've been burned too many times with Star Wars. Like, I just don't want to get burned again. And it's tough. Like, it is really tough. And the show that really did it, like, burned me for the last time, that really did it for me, was Obi-Wan. Look, I still like the Mandalorian stuff. Like, season 3 wasn't great. Book of Boba Fett was but Obi-Wan, that show just wrecked me. Like, I was just like, why? Why is this so bad? The Acolyte was crap, and I knew it was going to be crap from the very beginning. So that I was not worried about that. Andor, I just couldn't get into Andor. Like, I'm one of those Star Wars guys that I want my lightsabers. I do. I want my lightsabers in Star Wars. And that's another thing that worries me about Starfighter, So we'll see. Not saying it's not going to be good. It could be great. I'm just a little worried about it. The Watcher says 2026 is goated as well, but YV and movies? I don't know what. TV and movies, maybe, is what you're saying. Trayvon says, anyone excited for Shrek 5? Not really. I mean, I'll watch it probably, but I don't think I've watched a Shrek since the second one. I can't remember. What was the one with Justin Timberlake? Was that the third one? Maybe I saw that one. I don't know. But I haven't watched any of the Shrek movies since the Justin Timberlake one. So the Puss in Boots or anything like that. I haven't watched any of them since that. Let's see. Cinema Hooked also says, I think Man of Tomorrow could adapt the For Tomorrow comics and find a way to bring Brainiac in. Would explain Soups needing Lex's help. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of going to be the main topic of the Watchtower this week is discussing who we think the villain or villains could be for the film. But yeah, I mean, it's a possibility at this point. So we really have nothing to go off of yet. Maybe just a little bit of information to go off of, which we'll talk about on Friday. Let's see. Donovan says, expect a cameo from Hunter X and Beyond Spider-Verse. Ah, really? You think so? I mean, I guess they have time to do that. I guess they would have time to do that. Donovan says, let Frozen die. Cinema Hook says, Ninja Turtles is awesome, but nothing compares to the OG from our childhoods. Oh, you have no idea. Man, that late 80s cartoon. Oh, man. You have no idea. All right. What else we got? Donovan says K-pop Demon Hunter's greater than Frozen. Look, my daughters right now would probably agree with you because all they do is watch it. They're probably watching that movie. No, they're probably asleep by now. But all they do right before bed, watch that movie, come down here, they dance around the living room, singing the songs. Man, they love K-pop. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy some of their music too. It's a catchy movie, catchy songs. Let's see. Critic Chris says, most anticipated 27 film is probably Superman, Man of Tomorrow, and the other being Avengers Secret Wars. Makes sense. Watcher says, if Toby is in Doomsday, then I'm there. So if Toby isn't in Doomsday, you're not going to be there? Like, go opening day. Then you won't know if he's in there. Donovan says, Middle Earth needs to die. Wow, that's rough. I wouldn't go that far. Watcher said, I forgot about Hunt for Gollum. Hyped for that big time. Critic Chris says, I was surprised how many people went to see the anniversary of TMNT. I should have. Best TMNT, in my opinion. Yeah, I would have loved to have gone to that, but, you know, life sometimes gets in the way. Watcher asks why. He says, I'm very curious why you don't like 2 or 3 of Lord of the Rings. It took me about 4 times to watch The Two Towers, maybe 5 times to watch it, 5 times total to watch The Two Towers to finally get through it. I just kept falling asleep. I just could not stay awake through that movie. It bored me to death. Then the 5th time I finally watched it, get this shit. The fifth time I finally watched it, my buddy was like, you just gotta watch, just watch it. Like, have some energy drinks, just sit there and watch it. So I actually turned it on early in the day. It was like 4 p.m., something like that. Typically I watch movies later in the day, like later at night typically. So then, like at this time, this was probably about 10 years ago, I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. And I turned it on. Had no idea I turned on like the extended edition that was like 4 or 5 hours long or whatever. Had no idea I turned that one on. I'm like, why is this movie not ending? What is going on? Because it was like on demand or something. And I watched it. It took forever to finish it. But I was like, they're good movies. They just are. It's just they're not for me. The reason why I love Fellowship of the Ring so much is because it does have a beginning, middle, and end. It does have a really good cliffhanger at the end, though, but it's just a good, secluded film that I really, really enjoy. Two Towers is boring to me. Return of the King, I couldn't get into it. I won't say it was boring, I just didn't appreciate the story that much. And it's probably because I missed a lot or didn't appreciate the Two Towers to appreciate Return of the King. That's why I'm thinking, but yeah, who knows. Trayvon says, dang, no mention of Shrek 5, and people wonder why I call that franchise has-been. Yeah, I actually missed Shrek 5. I must have missed it. I knew it's coming out, but I just missed it. Like Bluey I saw, but didn't put on there because I was like, it's a kid's thing. But Shrek 5, I just completely missed. So I'll be honest with you, I just completely missed it. I probably would have put it on there if I saw it. Donovan says, not excited for Starfighter. Says, Star Wars died for me a long time ago. Trayvon, I want my DCU. Watcher says, only Maul series and Ahsoka Season 2. Only things I'm interested in. I liked Ahsoka. The Maul series is interesting. I would have preferred it to be live action, but it looks interesting. It could probably be decent. Watcher says, Mando season 1 and 2 are honestly masterpiece television, but season 3, yikes. Big yikes. Yeah, once they brought Lizzo and Jack Black in there, I was like, come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. Donovan says, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish is pure art. Trayvon says, Shrek the Third had Justin Timberlake. That'll be a 20-year-old movie by then. Holy crap, that was almost 20 years ago? Man, you guys are making me feel old. I don't like this. Don't tell me that kind of stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's the Tron coming out, this year? What is that? Is that next month? Is that October? It's October, right? But Donovan says, I'm going to Tron double feature. That should be fun. Says, first time I'm seeing Legacy in IMAX. I can't wait. Enjoy it, man. I saw it in IMAX when it first came. Was it IMAX? Yeah, when it first came out. It was like 2010? 2009? 2010? Something like that. Man. What else do we got? Looking to see if anything's interesting to say. Kevin Davis says 2026. Come on, pull up. There you go. 2026 box office prediction. 1. Avengers Doomsday. 2. Toy Story 5. 3. Moana live action. 4. Minions 3. 5. The Mandalorian. 6. Dune Messiah. 7. Devil Wears Prada 2. That's not a bad prediction, Kevin. That's really not a bad prediction. I would say Devil Wears Prada might be a little lower, because don't forget Supergirl's there. I think Supergirl has a potential of being within the top 10. How high is debatable, but Supergirl will definitely be in the top 10, I think. But yeah, I mean, I think your top 3 are pretty solid right there. Avengers, Toy Story, and Moana. Those are probably going to be your top 3 for sure. I could see that. Although Minions, I don't know. That franchise just, I don't know. We'll talk more about, closer to the end of the year, we will be talking more about 2026 for sure. For sure indeed. All right, guys. One more time, I do want to call out and remind you, go check out these other guys. Movie Talk Now, Comics Cuts, and Cinema Hooks. Go check out their videos for which costumes are better, live action or comics. They're great. You can head over to my Twitter and you will find the post right here with links to their videos and even my video. And you can click on it and go watch those videos. Follow them, subscribe to them, all that stuff. They're great guys, make great content. Gotta love it. Look, we build as a community and it's a lot of fun that way. So go check them out. A lot of fun. The Watcher says, I'm so excited for Street Fighter next year. Mortal Kombat movies aren't doing it for me. I just don't like the look of it. All right. Well, yeah. Street Fighter should be interesting for sure. That's another movie. Like, Paramount got the distributing rights for that. Paramount's just buying everything up right now. But, yeah, that should be interesting. I mean, we'll see. Like, I'm interested to see what it looks like. That's all. Like, I'm not overly excited for that film, but I'm interested to see what it looks like for sure. But guys, I think I'm about to call it. This was a great show. I had a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Again, head over to the community tab over on my YouTube page. There you'll find a link for the voicemail that you can leave a voicemail for the Watchtower at the end of the week. In that voicemail, leave 30 to 60 second voicemail on who you think the villain of Man of Tomorrow will be and why, and that's going to be the main topic for the Watchtower this week. So you can do that. But with all that said, guys, thanks for joining tonight, and I will catch you all later.